second are 0? Hello? It wasn't Gata's internet this time. Uh-oh. This is a... Oh, there we go. There we go. Oh. Fucking hell. My entire computer froze for a moment. I am sorry. I don't know what happened there. This is the story of a girl who cried a river and drowned the whole world. Da 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 da. I don't know the rest of the song. I absolutely love her when she smiles. I think that's how it goes. I wasn't allowed to interact with like pop culture during the 90s, so I like missed out on everything. Which is really upsetting because like your mileage may vary, but in hindsight, what resolution do I run Minecraft at? Not full screen. It's less than 720p. I can tell you that much. Gotcha. Yeah. I don't know what that was about, but okay. What were we talking about again? Like, legitimately, what I have forgotten. What was the topic of conversation? Because I don't remember. Minecraft art. Okay, right. Biomes. Yes, I was telling you about the cool function that I put in. That my wife was like, I don't understand this. Please stop talking to me. Gotta wait. Gotta wait for what? Before I start. Okay. I'm waiting. I'm waiting so hard. Oh, chat is missing. Oh, fuck. Chat is missing. I'm gonna have to reload all the... Oh, the donation goal is gone too. The browser sources is fucked up. All right, hold on. That should be a fairly simple fix. You're helping! You are helping. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Can I refresh this? There we go. And I'll do the same thing for the alert box. Just to be safe. There we go, everything popped back! Yay! We're good now. We're good. But yeah, so basically, I create a variable called B, and whenever I hit the button to generate a new island, it randomly chooses what temperature B is, and then from that point forward, in the code, whenever I call upon B for anything, it will remember what the initial value of B was, which means that every island has an internal temperature, and it generates what's in that island from like biomes. Of course, each list also includes an entry, a very small % chance, where it will generate a biome from a list that is on either side of it. So, for example, like if you're in a cold biome, what's colder than the cold biomes are the snowy biomes. What's warmer than the cold biomes are the temperate biomes. And there is like a small % chance that it will decide to generate a section of the island using a biome from one of those other two lists. Yes, there is a weird weather biome. I still haven't put that in there just yet. I actually contacted Vazki, the individual who makes Quark and Botania, and was like, hey, I'm making a Minecraft-based generator for my TTRPG shenanigans for personal use. I'm not selling it or anything. Do you mind if I include Quark content? Because there's some biomes and trees and stuff. that I would like to include in this world building I'm doing. And Vosky was like, if you're using it for personal reasons, like, you don't even have to ask. So as long as I don't reprint anything of theirs, I'm on the up and up. I'm gonna wait until the generator is finished before I contact them again and be like, hey, I want to do like Twitch content where I may mention your shit by name. Is that cool? But that's neither here nor there. Boop. So I'm just very happy with that. And my beautiful wife was like, I don't understand it, I don't get it, but I'm happy that you're happy. I'm like, oh, thank you, dear. Oh, thank you, dear. But no, the reason why I got the Globetrotter's Guide to Greenery is because I want to take the information that's in this book and then make similar cheat sheets for myself on all the other biomes. So I have a list of words that I can pull from, a list of plants, a list of animals that I can pull from to make each of the generated biomes feel like they exist and aren't just randomly there. Now that I have this physical book in my hands, I can get to work on that. I am very excited. I am very excited. There we go. I'm considering, and this is me talking out my ass, I had the thought today, so I don't know if there's anything going to come of it, but I've been considering if I'm going to do the consistent world thing, where the islands that players generate are kept on a world map, and like I choose a random point for each table to start, and if they go toward each other and they connect it, so they do, and if not, then c'est la vie. I kind of want to see about doing some streams where I stream one-on-one Minecraft content. I feel like if I want more in-depth character interactions, I want to stream just me and one other player, with the caveat being that whatever they do in that one-on-one stream will then be included in like the world lore for everyone else to interact with. Maybe have a different guest on each month. It wouldn't be weekly. That would be just too much, frankly. Unless I wanted to completely pivot my content to being TTRPG related, which I hate to say it, as much as I love TTRPG, Minecraft pays the bills. Minecraft is like the one thing everyone comes to me for. Raglan's watching Twitch while at work, the fool. Can't believe this. Cannot believe this. Get to work, you slacker. Alright. That's all the potatoes. And there's still a whole bunch of potatoes left over. That'll be useful for sending potatoes off to various locations. Slacking on the job, exactly. Exactly. Slacking on the job. Can't believe this. In this economy? Shame. For shame. For shame. Alright, I need to go grab all those carrots and fill this area up with some carrots. I also need to somehow get a hold of beetroot seeds. I don't know where I can get them from. There's probably someone on the server who has them that I can trade with. But also, I don't want to fucking deal with anyone right now, so fuck off. Alright, grab all these, grab all these. I was listening to Matt Colville today. Matt Colville, for those of you who don't know, is a YouTuber, game designer. He runs MCDM Productions. They had done a number of 5e Kickstarters, including Kingdoms and Warfare. It was Kingdoms and Warfare. What was the second one? They relatively recently finished a Kickstarter for a new monster manual called Flea Mortals, and I did not get in on that. I didn't have the money at the time, and I kind of regret it. I am quite fond of the production values of MCDM's work, even if I myself am not a big fan of 5e. Plus, he works with individuals that I know on Twitter, so any way to support them is, you know, it's good. Strongholds and followers. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Is the second one. Thank you so much. But I was watching some old Matt Koval videos. Matt Koval has a YouTube series called Running in the Game, where he basically uses his decades of experience to just talk to people about D&D and about being a DM. And it's not like most DM tips and tricks channels. It's more like, I am a white guy who's been doing this since the 80s. Here's stories about my life and what you can learn from them vis-a-vis playing this game. And I absolutely adore his insights. He is a writer. He does game design. He actually was the main writer on Evolve. Do you guys know Evolve? It was a video game. It was like a monster hunting video game, an asynchronous monster hunting video game, where one person plays the monster, who the longer it stays alive, the further it evolves and the more deadly it becomes. And the other players are like the monster hunters trying to like shoot it before it gets too powerful. You still play it? Good, good, good. Yeah, no. Matt Koval was the main writer on Evolve at Turtle Rock, I believe. He also was one of the primary writers on... It was a war game in the Koreas. Oh, God. What game was it? I don't remember. Anyway. The Dune RPG. Did he write the Dune RPG? I don't think he did. I think he just likes Dune a whole lot. I've never read Dune, but him talking about Dune makes me kind of want to read Dune. You can't remember either. Okay, all right. I think like Commando or something. Something along those lines. It was a Rudy Tooty point and shooty, but that's neither here nor there. I have binged all like 120 episodes of his Running the Game series, and every once in a while I rewatch all of them. Not in order, like randomly I rewatch them, because it's good advice, and there's always more advice to listen to. You forget more than you learn, and rewatching them like tickles the back of your brain. You're like, oh yes, I recall watching this and think this was a good idea. The video that I watched recently was about getting players in on the grift. Working with your players to create these dramatic moments that you couldn't have created if they were not personally involved. And it really got me thinking, between that and his videos about single-player experiences, about how asynchronous play experiences can be, if they are absorbed by a third party, right? So let me try to put this into English for you. I have thoughts, and I'm using big words, and I'm realizing that it might not be coming out in any sort of tangible, logical sense. Say that I did create a living world. Let's say that I took the setting for Bangarang Bay, and I said, I'm going to have one person on my stream on this day of the week, and we are going to roleplay their character, one-on-one, having adventures in Bangarang Bay, right? No one, like, the only people who are watching that, the audience members, will experience that story alongside both the player and the DM. Then, a week later, right, I'd be like, okay, I'm playing with someone else, and we're going to play an adventure with this character in Bangarang Bay. Maybe it's somewhere else. Maybe it's in the same location, and the other person's character is, like, in the background as a cool cameo. Presumably, if this were a non-televised event, player 1 and player 2 would never be able to... I'm going to sneeze. Thank you. Pardon me. Why did I thank you for me sneezing? Thank you for your patience. Player 1 and player 2, aside from hearing stories about it afterwards, would never know that they were playing in an asynchronous world. And in fact, when Matt gave examples of this, he did one example where he had a table of like 3 or 4 people. They were playing Night Below. It was his Night Below campaign. And part of their Night Below campaign was interacting with this baron who had land off to the side of their keep. They were slowly growing their power, and they had control over a specific region. And they were communicating with this local baron. At one point, they met, this long story short, they interacted with this baron, and this baron made a political move. where he killed the young scion of this now defunct family. He convinced the child to swear allegiance to his house, and the moment the kid did it, he executed him on the spot. And the players were very upset about this. Like, Matt, why did you have this character do that? Turned out, the entire time they were communicating with this Baron, it wasn't actually an MP. Like Matt was controlling him during the scene, but in reality, over the course of the months they'd been playing, this Baron character, like Matt was like texting this other guy who was not a part of the table. They were role-playing his own game concurrently, and Matt would be like, hey, these dudes are setting up shop slightly outside of your reach. What do you do? And the guy was like, well, I'm going to send them a message to see what they want, if they want to ally or if they're like unfriendly. I'm not going to attack them until I've determined whether or not they're like an easy win. So like from the perspective of the players at the table, this was an NPC that Matt had created to interact with. But from the perspective of the guy who was actually running him, he was a fully fledged individual. Matt had described like there's this kid, his family has been killed, he's the last remaining heir, and if he grows to adulthood, he could be a problem for you. How do you want to handle this? So he gave his entire plan. I am going to convince the child to swear fealty to me, and once I legally have the right to his name, I'm going to execute him so that what's his is mine, because that's the best move for my kingdom. So this kind of asynchronous play has really been tickling the back of my head, especially in a Twitch context. Like, that story was amazing for the players at the table because they were there to experience it. The individual playing the Baron only got to hear about the big reveal after it had happened. And that isn't bad. That was the point. If they had known he was at the table to watch the reveal, they would have known something was up. It wouldn't have like had the same, it wouldn't have hit the same, you know? However, we are not playing at a table in the 1980s. We are, well, I think it was the 90s at that point, but whatever. We are in a very unique situation where I am a content creator and I televise the creative works that I do. So if I were to have adventures take place, we are playing at a digital table in the new century. Exactly. We have the technology. We can use that to create an experience, not one-to-one, but definitely somewhat similar, you know? If there is a third party, not me, not the players, who is watching the stories happen in real time, even if an individual person's story doesn't interest them, they will be seeing events that matter in this shared world as they happen. And if the other players don't watch the other stuff, that's fine, because like their characters wouldn't know what happened elsewhere either. They wouldn't know that this person they've met actually went on this adventure in Gada's other one-shot. They would be equally an NPC to interact with as anyone else. But from an audience perspective, they'd be watching a living world. And that's fascinating and something that I want to try and emulate. Especially because, and this is another Matt Colville thing, he talks up one-on-one games as being some of the best D&D there is. Granted, he uses D&D in place of TTRPG. So if I want to quote him, I gotta say it's D&D, but that's neither here nor there. Playing one-on-one is the most intimate a TTRPG experience you can get. There's no other players. There's no party to balance. There's just you, the DM, and you, the player, and the player decides what they want to do, and you narrate the world happening around them. The player is literally the hero of their own story, and I do not think the power fantasy gets any more complete than that. So I want to combine these two concepts together in order to create this world. It also doubles as a world building tool, because in order for me to consistently have content for people, I need to be consistently generating new areas, new stuff. That sounds so fucking awesome as a player or as a viewer. Yeah. My concern is that it might lead to players not being willing to take risks if they're worried about messing something up. I'm a very lenient DM, so that has never really been a problem with me at my tables, where someone is told you can't do that, that breaks the lore. I'm very generous about that. But if someone is invited to play one-on-one TTRPG with me for a few hours, and they haven't been caught up on the lore, I worry that it might lead to them wanting, or being worried that if they make the wrong action, they'll mess something up for everyone. And that's not great. But that's a natural risk to take, you know? It also does kind of take away a bit from the intended experience. Another example that Matt did was, hello? Oh, hi! Where the fuck? Okay, sure. You're here, I guess. Can I sleep and make it not night and not rain so that that guy will just burn to a crisp? There's a bed in here. There was another example that Matt told in a different video. He spread this across multiple videos, where he was playing one-on-one D&D with multiple people at once. He was doing one-on-one D&D where they were all individuals who had come into power and were beginning to make choices that would affect the state of the land they had acquired. One was a wizard, one was a warlock, one was a paladin, and from the player's perspective, it was one-on-one D&D. It was completely unrelated to anything else. Part of it was resource management and interacting with fellow locations and NPCs. So because it was like a medieval game and there was snail mail, part of the game would be like sending off messages to these other leaders talking about alliances and trade and just interacting with them and trying to like basically playing Civilization. Okay. What none of the players knew was that Matt was playing this exact same game with all of them. And in the pile of NPCs that existed in their surrounding areas, some of the messages they were receiving were slightly rewritten messages from the other player characters who did not know the other people existed. They had no clue. So what happened was that for a couple of months, they played in this way until something happened in their game world that required them to like go adventuring, right? The game switched from being I am playing one-on-one kingdom simulator to there is adventure to be had and loot to find. Now we're playing proper D&D. And when that happened, all of those individual players were invited to the same table. All of them thought they were the only one who had any prior experience in the setting. And when they got there, they said, oh, hey, I'm the wizard Tace. And someone else said, what do you mean you're the wizard Tace? I'm Nicodemus, the paladin. And they realized, oh my God, Matt, you mad lad. We know these people. It was an Avengers-style team-up. So every character in the party, even though it was their first adventure together, canonically had stories and like a connection. They knew they were neighbors. They had made trade agreements. They had disagreements. And now they were all working together to save their realms. And that's fucking fantastic to me. Like, a bit of it is because of the subterfuge, you know? Like, if I had told someone, you're going to play one-on-one TTRPG for a few months and then join all of the other ones, you just don't know which of these characters you're talking to is a real person. Like, that's a different vibe than starting off with they're all NPCs and then finding out they're a real person that they can play with. My buddy so-and-so was the wizard the entire time. Mithram has yelled, "No, I've lost my cats across the ocean." Yikes. That's no good. I can't believe they stole... One second. Priscilla's scratching at something, and I'm worried she's stuck in a closet. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back. What is going on out here? Priscilla. You're gonna love this, guys. You're gonna fucking love this. She was not lost in the closet. What I was hearing was her pushing something along the ground, trying to get into it. So you know how grandmas always have those cookie tins with knitting supplies in them? Our local Aldi actually sells the cookies. I fucking love Danish butter cookies. Like, I shouldn't have too many of them because they do set off my allergy, but they're fucking delicious, and Aldi sells them year-round. So, fuck yeah, I treat myself every once in a while. Priscilla decided she wanted cookies. So she took the tin, and I guess she knocked it off. I didn't hear it because it landed on something soft. But she had flipped it upside down, and she was trying to get the lid off while it was upside down. So she's just pushing it ineffectually across the kitchen floor, making a scraping sound against the tile. With her little pushed-in face, like, well, I know there's cookies in here, but I can't get them. Well, she can't eat the cookies is the problem. She has IBS. She has IBS, and she can't eat anything except her very specific medicine food. No, she cannot have cookies, or she gets very sick. And you would think she would know this, but no, she is a very dumb cat. Bless her little cotton socks. I love her to pieces, but she's a very dumb cat. I wish we could give her treats. Her treat is getting like some kibble from her medicine food, which she can actually digest. She can have a kitty cookie as a treat. Give her a treat. No, 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 she's already eaten. We don't reward her for breaking into our food. That's not how that works. That's not how any of this works. She will get a kitty treat later if she's behaving herself. We don't? Tegan. Tegan. That actually segues into another game design rant. So I hope you're ready for that. Priscilla will remember that. I don't know if she will. She's very much, no thoughts, head empty. You're so ready. Okay, well, it's not really... It's a game design rant that I've talked about before. Specifically when it comes to fulfilling the fantasy in role-playing games. Priscilla will not remember that. Priscilla will remember that for maybe 5 minutes, but bless her heart, she has the brain of a goldfish. So I think I'm fine from any repercussions. Anyway. So, when you are designing for a game, be it mechanics, or like classes, or just the content you're going to put in your... Well, I mean, I deserve this, but... let's see here. Is there a village on the map? There's a village over here. I kind of want to go see if I can't trade for some beetroot. There's a village here and a village here. And there's nothing over there. I'm trying to remember if there was another village that I found in my travels. I'm sure there was, but... that's two. Oh, there's one down here. To sell or obtain, oh, actually, oh no, this is the base for Pixel. I miss having that desert village right where Mithrin is. Like, damn, that was actually really fucking useful. All right, I guess I'm heading up here. You have a peasant that buys beetroots. No, I want to obtain beetroots. I want to get beetroot. I gotta get emeralds for that though. I'm going that way. But yes, whether you are doing mechanics or just the content you want to put into the game, if you listen to any game advice that I give you, let it be this, okay? You have to reward, right? You have to reward the actions that you want to see. You have to have mechanics where the behavior you want to see in the game is rewarded by the game, so that then your players, I have a boat back this way, I don't know why I'm walking. Your players will naturally want to do those things. So for example, way back in the first couple of versions of Dungeons & Dragons, like AD&D, right? Gold was equal to 1 experience point. You leveled up 4 gold. You didn't buy experience, right? You didn't like say, I have X amount of gold, I'm going to buy X amount of gold. No. If you found gold, you got the gold, and you also got experience for finding that gold. And experience was how you leveled up, and experience was how you got cool, dope shit. And on some, I forget if it was in AD&D, I haven't read it too closely, but in some cases there were monsters that could take experience from you, so it was essentially like a secondary health bar, where you could lose levels if you met certain monsters, so having a lot of experience was a good thing. So naturally, the game incentivized you from the ground up to go out and get gold. And how did you get gold? Well, you didn't do it by taking odd jobs and being nice to grannies. You went out by finding treasure hoards and taking them for monsters. Level drain from beholders. Thank you, Mithrin. Thank you so much. I'm glad we're all nerds here. So the game at a very base level incentivized a very specific style of play. In that same vein, old D&D adventures usually included information for NPCs like how much gold they kept on them, where they hid their shit, because the game on a base level assumed that you would be looting and pillaging and plundering, and you would need to, like, if you had a thief character in your party, he'd want to pickpocket people. So the game at a very base level knew what it wanted its players to do, and then designed the mechanics and the information in the game to reflect that and to encourage that. If D&D had been a game about going out, fighting monsters, and collecting gold, but there wasn't any real use for that, hello 4th edition, then players would not do that. Maybe like a table or two who wanted that content would do it because they wanted to, but like not everyone would. So when you're developing for a game, know what the mechanics suggest is the course of action, what it supports, and then either build to replace what isn't there, or have rewards for players who perform that. Like, okay, so in Dungeons & Dragons, specifically 5th edition, there are 3 pillars, right? There's combat, there's exploration, and then there's social interaction. Those are the 3 actual pillars that are stated to be at the core of D&D 5e, right? Exploration, combat, and social. If you actually read the books, there's a lot of support for combat. Like, there's so much support for combat. Almost all of your abilities are useful in a combat scenario. You're heroes in a world full of monsters, and doing dope shit like punching people a lot is like why people play D&D, so I'm not going to fault it for that. However, then we talk about the other 2 pillars, exploration and social. There's not a lot of good mechanical support for social interactions. This is an issue that designers have all the time, where they try to create social mechanics for D&D 5e that are as robust as combat mechanics. D&D's not built for that. It's built for being combat. Exploration is a bit better, but it also, like, there are features that... Where the fuck am I going? I'm just swimming in a direction. I've completely bypassed the place I was supposed to be going to. God damn it. Why did none of you stop me? I missed the left at Albuquerque. I'm just swimming along talking about game design, not paying fucking attention to anything on screen. Oh god, I'm an idiot. Anyway, there is some support for exploration, specifically in like classes like the Ranger. If you're gonna have an exploration heavy game, then a Ranger is like the one you need. The problem is that in order for exploration to be something your players want to do, there has to be a reward for that behavior. If you want your players to act in a certain way, if you want your game to encourage behavior, there has to be a reward for it. Did you see the part where Mithra and I both offer beats? Yes, but also, leave me the fuck alone. Get off my lawn. I have set a course of action, however unintelligent, and I will follow it through to its natural conclusion. Are there even any villagers in here? No, there's one. There's one. How do I get in? Someone has, like, sealed this off. Can I hop over this fence here? I don't think I can. Hup. No, I'm one block too short. Hup. I'm 2 blocks too short. That's all right. Oh. This'll do. Boing. All right, so this appears to be all wheat. This appears to be all wheat. I don't want wheat. I want beet. Give me beet. No, I don't think there's gonna be anything that I want in here. Who even lives here? Yeah. All right, no one in here. Oh, I see. They blocked them off. You are a nimwit. Oh, are these all? Oh, none of these have. Oh. They have these here. I don't want to mess with someone else's villager breeder. Nimrod, the mighty hunter! True. Nitwit, that's the word I'm looking for. Nitwit. Yeah, whoever's working on this has cleared this place out. Fuck. I don't have any food on me. Alright, well, back to the boat. Back to the boat. I'm gonna replant. It's probably fine. Don't worry about it. It'll be wheat again before you know it. There we go. That'll do for now. Alrighty then. And is there an easy way to hippity hop out of here? Oh, there's a fucking fence right here. Lol. This was either Essie, Evie, or Ren, but I'm not 100% sure. Well, I borrowed their wheat, and that's all I've got. We haven't explored this area. Let's just go for it. I can only be 33.333%. True. That's the max. Game design, though. Game design. So, I've repeated multiple times. Support the behavior you want to see by rewarding the... Oh, yeah, I was talking about exploration in D&D. Okay. So, having a ranger in the party is good for exploration, but if there's no reward for exploring, then your players won't do it. This is a problem that Oh. I already uncovered everything in this area, and there was nothing of any value to be had. Well. The reason why people say Rangers suck so much is because there's no reward for doing the things that Rangers are meant to do. Rangers are kind of a grab bag of features as it is. They're Legolas, but they're also Aragorn, but they're also your summer camp counselor. And sometimes they're like a Digimon partnered human, and sometimes they're a Pokemon trainer. They're all over the place. But primarily, they're meant to be useful for exploration in the wild. But if you don't reward your players for exploring, they won't do it, which then makes the Ranger useless by default. And that's where a lot of players, a lot of DMs who are like, Ranger sucks, I don't like Ranger, no one play a Ranger. That's where they fail. The problem is the class was designed for a style of play, but, and this is gonna be a hot topic, I do not believe that Dungeons & Dragons 5th Edition does enough to actually support exploration as a playstyle. Exploration is treated as a means to get to the combat. There's not enough resources for the exploration to be a game in and of itself. You could have, using the base 5th edition rules, you could have a game that is nothing but combat, right? You could have a game that is just pure combat, like a Pit of 100 Trials, and the game would fucking sing. You could not have a game that is 100% exploration and still be fun. There is not enough support to it. You would have to homebrew a ton of shit. You could not have a game that is 100% social interactions. I mean, you could roll a d20 to see if you intimidate this person or if your will is stronger than their will. Like, yeah, but the level of support that combat gets, or heck, even the support that exploration gets, as little as it is, like, you just don't get that with social. The pillars are not even, is what I'm getting at. So you have to have mechanics to support the behavior you want, or the behavior will not take place. I'm just going to do a circuit around... Oh, actually, this island looks smaller over here-ish. And there's a whole bunch of animals from when the world regenerated. So let's just kind of circle around this island. See if there's a village there. I'm just going to keep going around until I find a village while I talk. If that's fine with you. This is a just chatting stream, and the Minecraft is like an excuse for me to have something to do with my hands. Like, I'm barely playing Minecraft at this point, and I hope you are still somewhat enjoying it. You're fine with that. Do it! Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. Oh, there's a shipwreck. Have we met this before? No, this is new. Oh, we can get some shit out of this. Fuck yeah, free shit. Fuck yeah, free shit. Where was I going with that topic? Oh, I remember. I was talking about how you want to reward behavior. The behavior that I want to reward in my players is oh no, someone has definitely already found this. Okay. All right. Yeah, no, someone found this. I thought I was clever. I thought I was experiencing something new, but nope. No, this has definitely been picked over. Oh, well. The activity, the behavior that I want to promote in my players is self-reliance. And I don't mean like they should play the game for me. This is not a dig to any people who may be players of mine who may be present during this conversation or maybe watching this VOD afterwards. Like, this is not corrected behavior. This is not rocks fall, everyone dies level of DM intervention. What I would really love is to have my players feel comfortable enough to determine their own goals, verbalize those goals, and then work with me to fulfill that fantasy. I have some players who want the content put in front of them. And when they don't know what they're doing, instead of taking the initiative to, like, poke the bear, did we not try that with Butterfly Blue? We did try that with Butterfly Blue. For those who don't know, Butterfly Blue was a hex-crawling Digimon game that I wrote At this point, was it a year and a half ago? Going on 2 years? It was right after we moved into this house and Jessica was injured again and had multiple surgeries. I wrote a Digimon hex crawling game. God, it was so long ago. And I tried. I proclaimed that that was what I wanted. But then the actual mechanics that I wrote did not support that. There was no real way of measuring progress on completing a goal. There was ways to list a goal and discuss a goal, and as a group say, wouldn't that be neat to have that as a goal? But that was where the support ended, and that was a very big learning experience for me. I learned a lot from that game. I still do intend to go back to it someday, because it is technically playable, but definitely not finished in its current state. Oh, here's a village, and it's a new one! Oh, and there'll be beds here too. Oh, wonderful. Oh, wonderful. So I can avoid the spiders and the creepers and the... Oh, joy. Oh, happy day. Oh, and there's some meat here. I'll just casually take that. Hello, villagers. There's no bed in here, but there is bread. If I tried again, you definitely play again. That's good. That's good to know. That's good to hear. Oh, excuse me. Why are there no beds? Why are there 0 beds? Oh, this is a fine kettle of fish. Let me eat real quick. Hey, why are there no beds? Why are there actually no beds in this village? Did someone take all their beds? Oh, thank God. Move, I'm gay. I mean, not rest those monsters nearby. Fuck off! I want to rest now. Do you trade beetroot? No, he doesn't. Oh, fuck off. Sorry, sir. And then I just go out the back. Oh, that works too. Are you still mad at me? You're still mad at me. Fuck off. 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 Ah, shit. I'm gonna die. Ah! Archers everywhere. I hate this village. I don't like it. There are so many skeletons. What the fuck? There are so many skeletons. No! Oh, God. Okay. Get in the house. Oh. Get in the house. 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 Oh. Okay. Oh, half a heart. Respawn set. Thank fuck. Fucking hell. Yeah, I'm still here. Also, if your search proves uneventful, seeds are in the mailbox. Thank you, Mithrone. Thank you, Mithrone. That was tense. Yeah. Yeah, it was a little bit, wasn't it? Oy. Oy vey. God. I'll just wait to heal up before we go out. Oh, man. Anyone who's trying to get a cohesive thought out of me watching this VOD is probably losing their goddamn minds. They're like, just finish your fucking thought, Gata. Just finish your fucking thought. Tell us about your game designs. Like, fuck, man. Just get on with it. Ooh. Sorry, dude. You're taking the thoughts and you're piecing them together. I am happy for you. Unironically, I am happy for you. There appears to be no farmers in this village. There appears to be 0 farmers in this village. And I'm done. I'm gonna head home. I'm going home. I don't care anymore. I don't care anymore. Gotta, you're the farm. I meant, like, you know what I mean. You know what I mean. Farmers who can give me beetroot seeds. Do I have beetroot seeds? No. If I did, I wouldn't be going on this little adventure. Now, would I? I forgot the boat. It's fine. I have trees I can punch. There we are. All right. So yeah, TLDR, determine the fantasy, think about how you can fulfill it, think about what behaviors your players will need to have in order to successfully fulfill that fantasy, and then have rewards to encourage that behavior. Do not expect your players will just naturally do what you think they should. They will gravitate towards actions that make them feel like those actions were worth doing. Oh, actually, we pretty much, you know, cleared out that area for the most part. I'm gonna go zip by Mithrune, I think. This is the quickest way to get home. That's a great point, Gata. Thanks. I'm glad it took me 40 minutes to make it. Oh, hello? Is there presents for me? Oh, there's this guy. Ah, fuck. Ah, shit! Get in the boat! Get in the boat! Get the fuck out of Dodge! I hate drowned. Oh, he broke my boat! He broke my boat! The asshole broke my boat! Fuck you! Oh my god! One moment I had a boat, and the next I didn't. That was... Oh, I can see on the mini-map him throwing shit at me still. What an asshole! What an unmitigated dick. Fuck that guy. It was a very entertaining 40 minutes, don't worry. I'm glad it was. I'm glad you feel that way. Hello, Otaku. Welcome to the stream. We're doing non-canon, out-of-character game design comments. Otaku, do you play TTRPGs? It's okay if you don't. It's not for everyone. We are specifically talking about how if you want to fulfill a fantasy in a game, you must include rewards for the behavior you want your players to exemplify. So, for example, I want to have my newest game be like high seas adventuring. I want players to have ships, be they sea vessels or land vessels or what have you, and I want them to go out into the world and I want them to explore. If I do not encourage that exploration, if I do not have them feel rewarded for exploring, you play D&D? Perfect. That works for me. That works for my purposes. If you do not reward the behavior, they'll never do it. It's why Rangers suck. Because most of a Ranger's toolkit is exploration, and D&D 5e does not have a lot of good tools for encouraging exploration. Alright, this is my stop. This is where I gotta get off and walk the rest of the way. Do I? There is a water source around here. If I cut across... Yeah, if I cut across here, if I go due west from here, then I'll hit Raggles, and I can walk home from there. Well, I can swim home from there, but you know what I mean. Yeah, so I want to encourage high seas adventure, which means that I need to encourage the use of boats I need to encourage finding new places, right? I don't need to, like, I do not want to punish players for exploring, right? I don't want them to explore, only find like 1 or 2 cool things per island, and then have to go elsewhere because they're bored. That's not encouraging them. That's basically punishing them for not exploring more. So instead, I need to have enough stuff on each island and have each island be varied enough that going to those islands and finding that stuff is a reward in and of itself. Using your ship to explore little doodads needs to feel rewarding. Interacting with the people on the island needs to feel rewarding. You know? If I did not create a game with good social cues, or did not have a game with a varied way of generating islands so they're not all the same, then they may as well just pick one island, sail out to wherever the dungeon is, and then go back to that island and then never leave. Which, you know, would be a viable playstyle. Like, I'm not going to knock it. If I run a game one-on-one for someone in my setting and they want to do that, then by all means, I'll fulfill that fantasy for you. But also, if you want to do high-seas adventures, then, you know. Tegan asked, oh, Gata, my sister said she wanted me to run a TTRPG for her and her, I'm assuming that's boyfriend, husband. I don't know if your sister has, all right, it's not nighttime yet. If your sister has a significant other that I just have forgotten about, which is entirely possible. Simple to play. Oh, and they're friends. All right. Well, the first thing you have to ask, has she asked for a TTRPG or has she asked for D&D? That's a very, and this is not me knocking on D&D. For once, this is not me knocking on 5th edition. I'm not going to be like, it's bad and you shouldn't play it. She actually asked for Rysis. All right. So there's 2 ways to go about this, okay? The first one is to give them Rysis. They asked for it, and if that's what they want, then you should run that for them. I have heard some very bad advice from people who are disparaging how all their friends only want to play D&D and not anything else. Or how their friends who have never played TTRPG have heard that D&D is the best one, so they want to play that best one. And the bad advice I've heard is just have them play something else and tell them it's D&D. No, don't lie to your players. Don't lie to your players. Even if you don't agree with their reasoning for wanting to play D&D, they have a reason for wanting to play D&D. Maybe they heard about nat 20s and they're like, I want to roll a nat 20 and D&D is the game where I do that. If you give them a 3d6 system, then you've automatically failed. You've automatically failed at fulfilling the fantasy they want. If they want to fight a dragon as a paladin, and you decide that you're gonna run Cyberpunk instead, you're like, no, this is D&D, but it's like sci-fi. Don't worry about it. You'll love it. They're not gonna get the fantasy they want out of that. And what's really frustrating in both TTRPG and making cakes, and this is gonna hurt some people's feelings, but I'm gonna say it, none of you bitches actually know how to verbalize what you want. Either you don't know what you want, or you know what you want and you can't put it into words. Saying, I want this, is very hard for some people who don't really understand what it is that attracts them to a game. They just know that this is the game where I'll get to do that thing that I want to do. This is true even in games that aren't D&D. If people come to a game with expectations, yes, Tegan. I want a carrot cake. Oh, fuck you! Fuck you! Oh my god. I want a carrot cake without raisins. That's half the fucking carrot cake! Give me carrot cake, no raisins! That's the point of a fucking carrot cake! Ah! Yeah. You don't want a carrot cake. You want a spice cake at that point. Fuck off with the raisins. No! God damn. For those of you who don't know, this is a deep cut to the Coop Cakes days. God, I would have so many people who would eat my cakes, and when I asked them what they thought about it, they would say, I like it. And I would ask, well, why do you like it? What do you like about it? And they would say, I don't know, I just like it. And then I would bake them a different cake, and they would say, I don't like it. And I said, okay, well, what don't you like about it? And I'm like, I just don't like it. And I would say, well, what was it about this cake that made it different from the cake you did like? And that will be why you don't like it. And they would say, I don't know, but the other cake was better. I liked it. And that's the extent of the thought process. It's the same thing with TTRPGs. A lot of people have just heard that D&D is the game to play. They don't really have a good reason why, but that's what they want. I want to fuck off. Fuck off, all of you. So if someone wants to play D&D and you are willing to run it, fucking play D&D. Now give them what they want. Alternatively, all right, step one. That was one of my two-part discussion piece. Okay, give the players what they want. Alternatively, you as a DM have the knowledge to explain to them how a game system works. Right? If someone says, I want to play D&D, you can look at them straight and say, that is fine. However, D&D is X, Y, and Z. D&D is combat oriented. D&D is about killing things. D&D is about getting loot and slaying monsters. A lot of times you'll get someone say, oh, but I watched Critical Role and there was role playing and there was deep character stuff. See, that is when you start talking them through it and you can start listening to what they're saying about what they like about what they heard of D&D. And you can be like, okay, so you want a game where you can deeply role play a character and have lots of funny moments. And maybe they'll be like, well, I mean, I kind of like the violence. And they're like, okay, so you want a high adventure fantasy game where you play a character and yada, 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 yada. At that point, you can suggest other rule systems being like, if you want a narrative story about a guy who saves people, maybe you would rather play this game. And they'll be like, I don't know. And you can be like, well, D&D is mostly about combat. You have to invest a lot of time and effort to get to that stuff that you like. So if you're fine investing, then yeah, we can play D&D, or we can do medieval fantasy with different dice. Sometimes they'll go for it, sometimes they won't. But at the very least, you've taken the time to figure out what their fantasy is and how you can best fulfill it. I had a friend, who I will not name, who is not in this call, who back before the pandemic, we had Wumbo every Wednesday. Back when I only streamed once a week and only did cupcakes, I also hosted a weekly game night at my house that we called Wumbo. And it was mostly an excuse to hang out with a bunch of people, but I was really getting into TTRPGs at that point. So I was like, hey guys, if you come over for Wumbo and bring the snacks, I will run you a new one-page TTRPG every week. And they said, fuck yeah, let's do that. And we did that. But eventually, the specter of Dungeons & Dragons reared its head, and one of the players said, I don't want to play these one-page RPGs. I don't want to play Honey Heist. I don't want to play, what was another one? It was a Gay Mermaid one that we played that was fun. I don't want to play these one-page RPGs. I want to play D&D. And at that point, I didn't have the verbiage to understand how to ask I didn't have the words as a DM to ask for more details. I just heard, I want D&D. So I said, okay, fine. It's almost Christmas. I'll get a Christmas D&D one-shot. And they got all excited, and they made their characters, and one of them was like a Christmas tree angel topper, but like animated. Another one was like a re-flavored tabaxi, but they were a donkey instead of a cat because they wanted to be the donkey from the little drummer boy. The claymation Rankin Bass, the Little Drummer Boy show movie. They wanted to be the donkey from that, but obviously in D&D. So they were a bard who played a drum, rum-pa-pum, and so on and so forth. So they show up with their characters, and I'm like, okay, you have been shrunk to the size of Christmas ornaments, and you are going to have to fight these animated ornaments to the top of the tree to interact with the Christmas angel on top of it. And I said, okay. And because it was D&D 5e, it was like 3 combats in a row with nutcrackers and sentient tinsel. And by the second combat, they were done. Now, I'm not going to toot my own horn and say that I was the perfect DM. I was running 5e combat rules as written. But they were done by the second combat. Whatever it was they wanted out of D&D, whatever they thought D&D was not the game that I was running for them. We never finished that one shot, and we never went back and played more D&D. And they didn't like reach the end of it and be like, I hate D&D. They were more confused and hurt. They knew, like they had the rules in front of them. I was explaining what I was doing as I was doing it. I'm like, okay, well, you roll initiative, and on your attack, you can do this, that, and the other. And at first, they were all excited, like, okay. And then, as the turns went around, D&D combat, gonna D&D combat, and it wasn't whatever it was they wanted. The fantasy was failed by the rules. I don't know what exactly the fantasy was they wanted. Just they didn't get it. And it was really disheartening. It was really sad. I felt bad that they didn't get what they wanted. So, which is why, like, I like to know a lot about the system that I'm running before I run it for someone, so I can tell them, this is what the system is good at, this is what it is not good at, and you need to be prepared so you don't have a bad time because you expect something the system cannot give you. It's why I lose my goddamn mind and get angry at 5e whenever someone says, oh, 5e is the best role-playing game there is. It's great for RP. It is all of this like stuff to support all these different kinds of play. No, your DM homebrewed and made up that shit. That's your DM's job, essentially making a brand new game for you. Thank your DMs, not Wizards of the Goddamn Coast, because their game didn't do shit. Their game gave you a D20 to roll, and that's pretty much it. Sorry, I got salty about D&D again. There's just a massive massive assumptions about what is D&D and what is the work of the DMs who run D&D. And fine, that's what I follow you on Twitter for. Hey, my brand is being salty about D&D. D&D would be a fine mechanical combat system if it wasn't marketed as anything else. If it was just, this is the game where you kill monsters, and it didn't try to be anything else and just stuck to that, it would be fine. I just wouldn't play it because I don't want games that do that, you know? But as it is, there's this whole ass grift where everyone is convinced that, well, you know. I don't gotta tell you. I'm actually just gonna go ahead and put all the sugar cane in there as well. Fuck it. We know. Yeah. I'm trying to think what else I can talk about that isn't salty. I don't want to be angry the entire stream. Oop. Let me think. Are there any other game design tidbits I've heard recently that I can yak about? Tell us about... Alright, I'm listening. What you're looking forward to coming up. Projects coming up. Okay. I can probably do that. Same hat, Tegan. Tell us more about stream. Well, first of all, I'm very excited about the Klonoa playthrough. That'll start after we finish Super Paper Mario. So Sundays will be Klonoa Day. I'm actually really excited to play Klonoa 1 and 2. I've never completed either game, and I haven't touched them since I was a kid. So, like, I've forgotten more than I remember, and I'm very excited to experience that again. Klonoa is farming. No, Klonoa is a 1990s platformer mascot platformer. He's a little black and white Cabot, and instead of stomping on enemies, he has a magic ring that he can use to pick them up and throw them. So it's traditional side-scroll platforming, but with a twist. Unfortunately, due to Bandai being shit at marketing, the series had like 3 or 4 games, some of which never left Japan. And the series never made it off the PS2. Klonoa 1, Klonoa 2, a sports game for the Game Boy Advance, and then a mini platformer for the Game Boy Color, I believe. Or was it the way around? Was all the series got before they dropped it entirely. They didn't market it. The people who played it loved it. But when you don't tell people your game exists in the 1990s, then you're not gonna get people playing your game. So Klonoa has a very devoted fan base. It has a cult following. And the re-releases were kind of a big fucking deal, because if the re-releases do well and get a lot of hype, which to my knowledge, it's got a decent amount of hype, they may actually make more Klonoa games, and I would love that. We need more 90s flavor games available. It was more like early 2000s, but, you know, potato, potato. Yes, once August hits, we will have a new goal as well. I don't know what it is, but we'll definitely have it. In the Minecraft space, I'm already preparing for the holidays. I have 2 mod packs that I want to go through. In October, I want to start playing through the Bewitchment mod. I want to have Gata do some magic stuff. Canonically, Farmer Gata hates magic, so it should be interesting. I'm looking forward to what happens there. And also, I have that Christmas mod pack I was working on that I couldn't get all the kinks out. I'm hoping that closer till all of the winter mods will, like, update and fix their shit. We do not get a lot of bone meal out of these, do we? I should probably do the rest of the farm with wheat so we still have wheat growing. There we go. I don't need the wheat, but it'll be nice to have a little bit of everything going on. There we go. So those are the pipeline, but those are like far in the future. I do know that I am going to be sticking with 1.19 for the foreseeable future. 1.19.1, I don't want to wade into the controversy around the chat reporting feature, but just know that my stance is that it's bad and abusable, and I do not trust Microsoft to not fuck it up. So I'm staying on 1.19. I'm not upgrading to 1.19.1, and you cannot make me. I am all set with that. With that in mind, even though 1.20, or whatever they end up calling it, will probably be announced this fall with a December or early 2023 release date, I do not intend to jump onto 1.20 for a good while. Depending on how the modding scene goes, 1.19 is as stable as I would like it to be. And I'd much rather... I'm tired of chasing after Mojang. The update schedule has been very frequent, which is great for vanilla players. Vanilla players do not have the chance to get bored with how quickly we have updates these days. But for modding people, it's a goddamn nightmare. The normal life cycle of a Minecraft mod is like 1 to 2 years between major versions. And any major updates are on the same version as all the other big mods, so they can update concurrently and like in tandem with each other. This update schedule for Minecraft has been fucking nightmarish for any coders, and it's fucking showing. Minecraft players have no fucking chill and will demand full updates to every mod the millisecond an announcement for a new version is made. And that's not how that works. Coding takes time and effort and resources and research and experimentation, and by the time the big mods actually manage to make it onto a new version, the next one is already like on the way. So instead of chasing after the newest version, I'm gonna just stick with like whichever one has the most support and play on that until the support for the next version starts showing up. I'm still gonna pay attention to the new mods, and I'm not gonna like not play the new version of Minecraft vanilla wise, but I want to do more modded content for Minecraft. Fucking hell. I love Minecraft mods. I love talking about mods. I love playing mods. I love showing them off. And I want to do more with that. Show off my love for that. Maybe even play some like really old school mods. Like go back and play like a 1.710 mod pack, just to show you how fucking wild it was back then. It was a very different game at that point in time. I won't say it was a better game, but it was a different game. Fucking hell. Getting in my hot bar. We got there eventually. We did. English is my first language. I can barely speak it. What the fuck? What else? I have been tapped by Raglan for a couple of projects. I am going to be participating in his Streamiversary next month. That's on the list. I'm excited about that. That's how you know you're native! Lol. Yeah. I have also been tapped for other projects going into September. I don't know if I'm able to talk about them though. So I'm not gonna specify, but just know that like Raggles has been communicating with me about stuff that he wants to do, and I've been saying whether or not I'm available, and we've been going from there. So, fun times. That's all I really have going. We are heading into the second half of the year, guys, so like Christmas is coming? I know it's July. I like the joke of Christmas in July. Like this isn't like a bit, but like when you're a creator and you only have so much time to produce the content you need on a weekly basis while also thinking about the big major holidays, 6 months is not a lot of time to prepare for stuff. You know? Like I am in the thought process right now, and I'm going to spend a month just thinking about what I want to do for Christmas, for New Year's, for Valentine's Day, right? If I want to do anything big, I have to have pre-production ready at least 2 months in advance, which means that I have to have my game plan for that pre-production done even earlier than that. In the past, I have tried to do too much too quickly, or I've tried to not do anything at all, and each time I end up disappointed. If I take a break and only do what I can feasibly do in the Christmas season, then Christmas comes and goes and I feel like I fucking missed it. Conversely, if I do everything that I want to do in the Christmas season, starting from November when it's acceptable to do Christmas things, then I overload myself and I never get to accomplish everything that I want to accomplish. I burn out, and that's no fun for anyone to watch. So this year, I'm definitely taking a early bird gets the worm approach. I'm definitely going to be preparing things ahead of time and sticking to those game plans, even if some other cool stuff like pops up into my head. I'm not going to get like a cool idea and then decide I'm also going to do like a multi-part TTRPG on top of the Minecraft Let's Play, on top of the cooking streams, on top of so on and so forth, you know? I want to have my holidays prepared and as much pre-production done as possible so I can actually enjoy. If this was pre-recorded content for YouTube, it'd be easier to get started in like October or whatever. Yeah, no. And actually, not to give spoilers, but like some pre-recorded content is kind of what I plan on doing to fill some gaps. You know? No spoilers, but like I'm thinking of ways to make my life easier, to work smarter, not harder. And while live content is still very much the backbone of my channel, that's not changing. For the holidays specifically, getting some stuff done ahead of time will be very beneficial. Very, very, very beneficial. The problem is with doing pre-recorded content, because if you remember, actually, the character of Ewan, the story of Farmer Gata starts all the way back in Minecraft 1.12 with a modded Minecraft playthrough called Eggshell Acres. Do you guys recall Eggshell Acres? I did that because I wanted to have a break during cooking streams where you guys were watching something and I was relaxing. You only remember it vaguely. It wasn't very good. I'm not gonna lie. It wasn't very good. I had to learn so much about Minecraft content creation, and I think it was a worthwhile experiment. I wouldn't suggest anyone go back to watch it again unless you wanted the Ewan deep lore. Because I still consider Eggshell Acres to be canon to Farmer Gata. Like, that's where his story begins. That is where Ewan and Gata canonically meet. Well, now you gotta watch it! The thing is... Oh, fuck. Almost knocked something over. The thing is, the series didn't even properly end. If you may remember, there was a span of time during the first or second year of streaming where my computer actually broke. Like, it shit itself. The motherboard went. And I had to buy a whole new computer, the one that I am using right now, actually. So with that, all of the recorded episodes and stuff disappeared. They were gone. They ceased to exist. So the series never finished. It never ended. So it's not an ideal watch, but, you know. Actually, canonically, Susie named Ewan. Canonically, Pad Paradsha, one of my mods, gave Ewan his name. Which is fucking hilarious to think about. Yeah, no, Susie's the one who literally said, Susie's the one who said you should name him Ewan. Name the sheep Ewan. And then I did. Actually, Susie's named my sheep and my cat. The kitten's name, we chose Meatloaf, which was Susie's suggestion. I better not have any kids, or she'll fucking name my firstborn too. Alright, let's get some more beetroot. We're almost done. We're almost done with this. But yeah, no, the point I was trying to make was that I started the Minecraft series to make it easier for me to entertain you guys while I cooked, right? Because there was that span of time after it got in the oven where I would just have to like chew the air for 40 minutes while the cupcakes baked. So I was like, oh, I'll record Minecraft on Saturdays, and then they can watch that in episodes, while I bake. Well, I did not take into account that editing sucks, and it takes so much time, and very quickly, editing the Minecraft videos was all I was doing when I wasn't recording Minecraft or streaming. It very quickly took over everything because I wanted the videos to be watchable and enjoyable so they were actually entertaining for people. But it turns out that having a weekly Minecraft video series takes effort. Who knew? Who fucking could have foreseen that? God. I'm still low-key proud of what I managed to do with Eggshell Acres, but like it wasn't what I anticipated it being. I learned a lot from that, and I will be using those lessons going forward. I'm actually doing, not this weekend, but probably the weekend afterwards, I'm doing some pre-recording content for a Mercury SMP lore video. Do I spill this now? It's more like I'm gonna have a cutscene to preface a stream that will like show off some lore stuff that I can't really do during a live stream. It's gonna be UN-centric, and I have to get the world. So how it's gonna work is there's a mod called CMDC Cam, which allows you to move the Minecraft camera away from like first person and hold it in place so you can be a performer in front of that camera and do Minecraft stuff. There's also a mod that allows you to shapeshift into any other mob in the game. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be downloading the world save, removing the actual sheep Ewan, and then morphing myself into a black sheep to act out the part of Ewan doing things around the farm for plot purposes. There's a lot of steps involved in making it happen. But when it does, it'll be, content of Ewan interacting. I wanted to do something to that effect a lot earlier than this. That sounds cool. Maybe I'll show you guys some of the raw footage once I'm done with it. It's not going to be a very long animatic, or I call it animatic. It's not going to be a very long video. It's going to be like maybe a minute, maybe two, and it's mostly more foreshadowing, and then it'll segue into the start of a stream, and Farmer Gata will naturally have not seen what the audience saw, so he'll have no idea what you're talking about, but it will color like the content that happens in that video in a way that I hope is entertaining and fun. I've also dabbled with the idea of having closing animations where I time it just so the video fades in over whatever it is I'm doing at the end of stream, so you don't recognize that we've switched over to a pre-recorded video. That would require some very specific movements from me, and I don't know if it's feasible given how my streams work, but I would like to do more pre-made content stuff to push the narrative of Farmer Gata and Ewan forward, because ad-libbing only does so much, Like, I love the ad-lib, I love the nature of this server, but there's a story that I want to tell, and I intend on telling it. There we go. Put that up there. Save the sugarcane for now. It is 9 p.m. and I am getting tired, so I think I am going to dip. Let's see who's streaming and see if we cannot raid them. I'm gonna disconnect. And then I have to open schedule for the rest of the week. Tomorrow, I am not streaming. I am playing in a TTRPG, so don't at me, bro. Sunday, we are once again playing more Super Paper Mario. We're only a few hearts away from finishing the game, so I'm excited about that. I need to pause that. And then on Monday, we'll be back in Minecraft. Maybe it'll be character-driven. Maybe it'll be more of this. I don't know. We didn't do a whole lot of resource gathering. I don't have the attention span for it, apparently. All right, let's see who is... Oh, the Neon Caster is doing an event this weekend where they're yeah, you did join, but let me tell you about where we're going next. The Neon Caster is hosting a multi-day event this weekend where they are playing a bunch of TTRPGs with different DMs. And one of those DMs and players is Draco, Sheila from Come and Go Tavern, who was a player in my Christmas game last weekend. So I don't know if they're going to be in this one, but let's go raid them so they can tell you a cool story. All right, let's go raid them. Raid the Neon Caster. Also, don't tell Neon Caster this. I think Caster is really cool, and I kind of want to be their friend. So be chill about it, guys. Don't embarrass me. All right? Don't embarrass me on this. Okay? Oh, they have follower, subscriber only chat on. Don't embarrass me. No, they're cool. I don't want them to know that I'm a nerd. God damn it. All right. Be polite. Go listen to a cool story. Ask chat to cap it for you. And have a good night, everyone. Goodbye. Goodbye, everyone. Bye-bye.